Thank you so much for your speech, and I think we can all take a lesson from what we just saw. When Ashli's mom, Mickey, was up here, she started off, she was very controlled and quiet, and just like we have all been the silent majority for so long, but if you saw her at the end of her speech, she was no longer silent, she was no longer quiet, and we all need to stop being the silent majority and start making changes for freedom that so many people have died for to give us those freedoms. So with that, I want to introduce our next speaker. His name is John Pierce. He's a lawyer. He's defended numerous different people, but one of the most high-profile clients he recently had was Kyle Rittenhouse, and he helped get him out of jail. So please welcome John Pierce.
Thank you very much. I wasn't sure I was going to have to follow Ashli's mom, but you're in our prayers. You have our eternal sympathies. There was one person killed at the United States Capitol on January 6th, 2021. One person.
They can't hear you.
There are many in this nation who want to ignore that, many who are frightened to say her name. She was a wife, a daughter, a businesswoman, a friend, and a neighbor from San Diego, California. She was an American veteran who served our country for 14 years. She deployed to combat theaters in Iraq and Afghanistan. Among other decorations, she was awarded the Iraq Campaign Medal and the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. She was all of us. She was just like me and you. Perhaps she was even more. Above all, she was a United States citizen who loved her country and protected the Constitution that enshrines our freedom. For those who have forgotten or wish to forget, for those who have not forgotten but hope that others will, let me remind you loud and clear today, that beautiful American citizen was Ashli Elizabeth Babbitt. Ashli Babbitt's killing was senseless. It was tragic, and it never should have happened. Ashli was unarmed that day. That was clear for anyone to see. She posed no immediate threat of serious bodily harm to anyone. The shooter, who to this day remains officially unknown, was in a protected position barricaded under cover. Ashli was surrounded by armed Capitol Police in front of her and behind her, including officers with tactical protective gear and long guns. The officers in front of her simply left their posts. The officers behind her were simply observing. During the entire episode, if she posed any serious threat to anyone, she could have easily been arrested by any of these officers. No one had to die that day. Ashli Babbitt did. Some want Ashli Babbitt's name to be forgotten because Ashli Babbitt does not fit their narrative. Ashli Babbitt is an inconvenient truth. Ashli Babbitt was not part of the establishment. Ashli Babbitt was not one of those elites. There will be no congressional blue ribbon commission to determine how or why Ashli Babbitt lost her life. There will be no criminal proceedings to hold her killer accountable. There will be no official memorial service in Washington, D.C. to honor her memory. And there will be no monuments on the National Mall to honor her service to her country. But let there be no mistake. Ashli Babbitt's name will be etched in history. Generations from now, when this once again is a free land, Americans will remember one name from that fateful day on January 6, 2021. They will remember the Air Force veteran who was senselessly struck down by the very government she served for 14 years. They will remember the name Ashli Elizabeth Babbitt. Ashli lost her life that day, but she did not die in vain. Her killing served as a warning that an increasing number of Americans are beginning to heed. The lesson her death sent that day should not have to be relearned so often in history, but it does. As Americans, freedom is our birthright. It is given to us by God and enshrined in the United States Constitution. But it can and will be taken away unless we are forever vigilant and jealously guard it each and every day. We must nurture and protect our individual liberties until we pass them on to the next generation of Americans, even stronger and more resilient than before. We live in very dark times in the eternal battle between freedom and tyranny. Perhaps darker than we know, and getting darker by the day. Our God-given freedom and constitutional liberties are under full-scale assault. They are being taken from us at an accelerating pace every day by our own government. A government that is designed to be a servant of the people, but now seeks to make the people servants. The list of grievances that we as a free people have is growing quickly, and it is growing long. Our First Amendment right to free speech already seems a quaint and distant relic in an age of cancel culture, big tech tyranny, and state-sponsored political correctness enforced by a fake news media. Our sacred Second Amendment, liberty's last line of defense, is under daily attack by governments at every level. The Fourth Amendment is barely holding on as a surveillance state begins to invade every facet of our lives, to the point where our law enforcement and intelligence agencies have at times been weaponized to domestically spy on Americans for political gain and without consequence, in the process often destroying lives. Innocent until proven guilty now seems to be the opposite. A limited government of constitutionally enumerated and separated powers is a long-forgotten idea, and foreign enemies infiltrate every institution of our nation, seemingly without anyone caring in the slightest. A tyrannical governor has locked down this once glorious state for more than a year, something that has occurred in many states in our union. Churches have been shuttered, while priests and pastors who stand up for their flocks have been persecuted. Businesses have been destroyed to never again recover. Citizens have been locked in their own houses, leading to misery and death on an epic scale. Governments attempt to force experimental vaccines upon a free people by holding lotteries to bribe them with their own tax dollars. Lies have been repeatedly and brazenly propagated by so-called government experts about the origins of a deadly virus, a virus that we all know came from one place and one place only. And perhaps worst of all, the people's faith in the integrity of our elections has been shattered. This has led to the worst political divide in our nation since the Civil War, and ultimately is what led to the death of Ashli Babbitt on January 6, 2021. But all is not lost, and never is, for the American people. Because from time to time in our history, God sends into our lives an angel like Ashli Babbitt. She was sent not only to be a loving wife, daughter, and veteran who protected us in foreign lands, she was sent to remind us that freedom is not guaranteed. It comes at a cost that sometimes must be paid in blood. Most of us will never have to pay the ultimate price, but we all must cover our share if we are to remain free. Ashli Babbitt deserves our gratitude for her service to our country, but most of all, she deserves justice. To her family, we offer our eternal sympathy for your loss, and we promise to stand with you until justice is served and you find closure and peace. Tomorrow, June 6th, 2021, is the 77th anniversary of D-Day. Allied forces stormed Normandy, liberated millions, and saved the world from plunging into 1,000 years of darkness and tyranny. And tomorrow, an organization is being launched in their honor and in the honor of Americans like Ashli Elizabeth Babbitt with one mission: to preserve and to protect our constitutional liberties, God-given freedom, and the American way of life for generations and centuries to come. You will hear about it very soon. It will fight in courtrooms across the land. It will fight in the media of the digital age and on every other front to restore our founders' vision for our constitutional republic. I pledge here and now before her family and upon her soul that it will never relent in helping to obtain justice for Ashli Babbitt. We all need to make that pledge and stand by her side until that day comes and forevermore. God bless Ashli Babbitt and her family. May she now finally rest in peace.
Ashli!